What does it mean to be a change agent? If I think about yesterday, we all heard our president of the Chamber of Deputies, and we were all applauding her, and she's all fantastic. But when I picked up the newspaper a little bit later in the day, there was a lot of negative press around her, and she's constantly being opposed and even harassed. And so making change, whether it's small or big, isn't necessarily an easy route, but sometimes it is the only route. Because if you have seen it, you can't really put your hand in the sand and pretend nothing. So this is what we're going to do a little bit now, talk about what does it mean to change, what courage we need, and also the support and so on. And some of you are teaching it to other people, and some of you are doing it, and so on. So who would like to volunteer to start sharing a little bit about what you're doing? Helen?
I started out with not having read the Danish philosopher Kierkegaard very well. And then I talked to people where I wanted them to be. And that was not a very huge success, actually. Because what Kierkegaard says is, meet people where they are. And so I thought, coming from an angle where I think everything is very much connected, I thought, if I'm going to meet people where they are, maybe it's a good idea to actually bridge science and consciousness. So that is what I have spent quite a big part of my life on, finding out where are people, how can I support people in shifting a paradigm by actually meeting where they are at, and meeting them there where they might be afraid, and then giving them some images or some numbers. Some need images, some need numbers, some need curves, some need equations. But to meet people where they are at, with love, respect, openness. And it's interesting how that in itself actually is pretty transforming. So that's actually also what I'm doing now. I've founded an institute where the subtitle is Bridging Science and Consciousness, where I bring together researchers, spiritual people, business people, to around the same table. And what we find out in the very end is that, man, how we are very much alike. It's very much about the ears which are listening. So in front of me I have a project which I have been scared of all my life. It's actually, I'm doing it next year. I hope that you will, that you really, somehow remember this, that what might not... Dalai Lama said it very beautifully, actually. He said, just because we can't sense something, that's not the same as that this which we are not sensing is non-existing. So next year I'm publishing something that for years I've been working on, and I hope the world will meet it with open eyes, because it's something about making the non-tangible tangible.
Helen, just a quick question. I remember I met you about 19 years ago.
Yeah.
She and Geraldine were one of the people who supported me to begin WIN.
Yeah.
But I remember we were thinking, and I thought about you, you know, you're such a futurist. You had these very innovative thoughts that you still have. And you were saying you're meeting people where they are. And when you are seeing things before the others, let's say, before many people around you, how do you deal with that, so to speak?
That's a good question. I think what I do is that I share bits and pieces where I find that bits and pieces can be shared. And then I use a lot of humor. And I I use pictures, I use images, and where people are scientific, I'll start out with the science part, and then we'll play with each other into a more consciousness related area. Or I'll start with the consciousness related area, the less tangible part, and then I'll move into science. Yeah. It's actually moving between the two brain halves in a way. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and then sometimes be prepared for people who might not be so very much liking what you're saying. Prepare yourself for not being liked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually. Yeah. And I mean, and then it's this. Because that'll happen. And that's natural. Yeah. But to actually listen to one's core, and intuitively we all know why we are here one way or the other, and then stick to that, because I think we're all here to contribute with something and to be of service with something. And these words, I mean, say them at a meeting and people will go, but it can be said in different ways. I mean, the important thing is that we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You are very welcome.
Love it. Geraldine, you'd like to share something about what you're doing now?
I was thinking when Kristin asked me to be on this panel, I was thinking, okay, so what's changed in the last 18 years with
talk
WIN?
about that, please.
And what's changed in the almost 30 years that I've been working with women, usually in corporate organizations. And unlike you, Helen, I didn't want to meet people where they were, because the women that I was coming across in organizations were not where they should have been. They should have been way higher in the organization. So for me, I saw myself way back in the 80s as a missionary. And it was my mission when I used to go in these fancy offices of senior leaders, and they'd have all these smart packs on the shelves, communication skills, sales skills. And I used to think, yeah, they're going to have women's programs up there. They're going to have a very nicely packaged. They're not going to be able to deny the worth of it by devaluing the packaging. So I set out on a mission. Now, interestingly, in those days, and maybe in the early days of WIN, the mission was to give women some of the skills they needed to navigate through the nightmare that was the workplace. So they needed assertiveness skills, and they needed to communicate in a different way. They needed to become visible. And I'm not saying those aren't needed now, but that was kind of the main concentration of it. And of course, it was seen by a lot of people as getting women to be like men, women needing to develop the more masculine characteristics. And that was fine, because it was needed, because they weren't getting heard. But then we moved to kind of a second level. And the second level was, no, we're not going to do it like men. We're going to do it differently. We're going to get to more senior positions, but we need to bring in this kind of the feminine side of things. And we're not going to compromise our values, and we're not going to do it the way it has been done. And that was fine, and it was harder, but it was fine, and those women were starting to succeed. And the interesting thing is, I'm now seeing a third level. And the third level is that we are moving beyond the feminine, which is interpreted as, well, it's okay for women to cry at work, and it's okay for you to explore your female side, and people have got to accept that we're females. And, for me, and I see it as the divine feminine, and it's a bit like, the dancing and the goddess. For me, divine feminine skills are powerful. They are warrior skills. There's no time anymore for pussyfooting around. It's time to really come with hardcore power. Now, interestingly, I see this power in every woman I meet. It's not something you have to acquire. It's not something you have to dress up in. They've already got it inside them. Unfortunately, there's a whole load of other stuff that's been piled on top of it, and they can't even see it for themselves. So my job is to see that in them and to help them to see it in themselves. Now, the challenge is really hard, because to step up a level, and I think now we are ready to step up a level in terms of female leadership and females in the workplace, it takes a lot of courage. Because now you're stepping way out of your comfort zone. And why is it needed? Because it's not anymore about helping women to become successful in a corporation. So they'll get a top job, so they'll have more money, so they'll be able to do this, and they'll be... No. It's a bigger picture now. There are women in the world who are being raped, who are in the poverty trap, who are being trafficked, all of this happening to women. It reminded me, my daughter was telling me this week about a lecture she'd heard about the number of witches who were killed in the 12th to the 14th century, whenever it was, and I've looked up the figures, and they range from 30,000 to 40,000 to 100,000 to 800,000 to 5 million to 9 billion. I've seen all of these figures used in this thing. And why were those women burnt at the stake as witches? Because they acquired a wisdom. They acquired wisdom and healing from their female ancestors, and it was terrifying to the men. So they were given two choices: you get married, or you go in a convent, or we're going to kill you. And they slaughtered many of them. Well, you know, women are still being burned at the stake, metaphorically. And my feeling is, no, it's time now to make significant changes, but women are going to need resilience. They're going to have to be able to bounce back from setbacks. They're going to need courage. And I went to the workshop, I'm sure many of you did here, on the Women Empowering Women. And hearing the stories, the inspiring stories of what some women are doing, and hearing about why they're doing it, what's going on for women in different parts of the world. I went back to my room and I wept. And it made me think, what am I doing working in corporate organizations, working with the privileged few, when there's all of this going on in the world? And then I realized, okay, if there's any small thing I can do, it's working with women who will become leaders in corporations and business, and to tell them, and when you get there, you have to change things, because the men aren't doing it. It could all be sorted by now. There's no need for poverty in the world. But the men in charge of the corporations and the men in charge of governments, I know people are doing, it's a huge generalization. Some people are doing great work, but in the main, it's not quick enough. So for me, helping women to find the courage, to find the resilience, to find the authenticity, and all that is within them. And that's why WIN's important. It's not just supporting women to be more assertive, it's supporting all of us to step up now to the next level. Why? Because the world needs us. The world needs you and your gifts and everything you can offer. And you can't not offer it anymore. It is not an option. So we have to support each other to step up into that realm and support each other when they're not being supported by anybody else. For me, that's the purpose of WIN now. That's how we see it's changed. And we can all do it.
We can not offer it something. Wow. I'm thinking, who should I would like to hear from Maggie. Who? Who certainly stepped up.
Perhaps I would like, Burundi. Who knows where is Burundi? Few. Yes. A very small country, and of course, I must tell you that our unique vocation when we're born is to distribute happiness. But I was born in a country, the very poorest country, I was orphan. I lost my father when I was 5 years old. My mom was very young, 24 years. And since I was born, always massacres, war. And then I decided, when I was young, 16 years old, to say no. I will change. I want that my mom, Burundi, became a place where every child can grow in dignity, can go to school, can have enough to eat. And then, is it possible to show you a little film to understand? Because I don't speak really English. Then I want to show you with image what happened in my life. I don't know why I became what I became, but I decided to say no. I don't accept fatality. I want to be happy with my friends, with all the people in Burundi. Please, can you show the little film? Yeah.
When I met her, it wasn't long after when she had to flee from her home in Ruigi with a whole group of children to protect them, and they ran away to the bush.
I will try to make new generation Hutu and Tutsi together.
In the beginning, she had lots of enemies. They even tried to kill her many times.
She's a very public figure, and that has both its strengths and weaknesses. And I think she rides close to the edge.
C'est ma façon de résister contre l'injustice sociale, de dire à mes frères et sœurs, nous sommes libres, la vérité nous rendra libres. Et la bougie comme signe de lumière, là où il y a la haine, que nous mettions l'amour, là où il y a l'injustice, que nous puissions mettre la justice, là où il y a la discorde, que nous mettions l'entente.
This could be a very significant moment for the future of Burundi.
The capacity to test democracy is going to be now, when they are faced with a challenge of discontent.
Je vous rappelle que vous suivez la RPA mi-temps des pays. Bonjour mesdames et bonjour messieurs. Seulement de suivre l'édition française. Des gangs de la police et du service national de renseignement sont déjà à l'œuvre pour éliminer des individus gênants. Et ces mêmes individus ont fallu éliminer hier l'épouse d'Agatongwassa qui a échappé de plus belle. Vous suivrez à ce propos Agatongwassa, président des Forces nationales de libération, non reconnu par le ministère de l'Intérieur.
Le journaliste et directeur de la RPA, Bob Rugurika, Madame Marguerite Barankitse, fondatrice de la maison Shalom.
I am full of hope that if I must die today, I am like the old Simeon. I have done what I love, to raise children and to create a new generation. Thank you. Thank you. Of course, now I am a refugee, but I refuse. Things change since May. They decide I am now a criminal in my country. But I said to the president, I will never be refugee because we are citizens of the world. I choose to go to the neighbor country, to Rwanda, not with sadness, because when we think about our future, for me, accept to live every day, to stand up, not to think about the past, but to think for today, what I must do. Because often in West countries, you live in future. Always you must pay tax for the future, insurance for the future, and sometimes you lose the present. You don't think today, what I am, what I must do today. Today, I am in Rwanda, I am not in Burundi, and also in Rwanda, I can distribute happiness. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you to WIN, to show me amazing women like you. We can change the world. If in French they say, si la femme bouge, le monde bouge.
It was also thinking about you. Last year we were at WIN, and you're ready to go into politics, and so much happened in 1 year. It's quite incredible. And here you are, smiling with us. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I think your courage and what has been presented to you in life and how you have met it is such an unbelievable wake-up also for many of us, where we think we do quite a lot and perhaps we can do so much more. So, Lorella, you have done a lot. You came back to Italy, you watched TV, and you didn't like what you saw.
Thank you, Kristin. Kristin, I have been at WIN many times, and today I would like to add something. And then, of course, I will share with you what I'm doing as a women rights activist in my country, in Italy. But I would like also to think together what has happened in the last hour. We had the Kautar, is right? Yeah? Kautar, excuse me. And then we have these ladies, and we have Maggie. And every time, having spent many years also in organization as a lot of women here, we enjoy this time together with Kautar, with Maggie, and then we say, wow, they are wonderful. Ooh, they are wonderful. Me, I'm something else because I'm in a multinational, I am a marketing director. So I think it's high time we find the courage, that's what I want to share with you today, to put what we are learning in our everyday life, in our work. Because I think that we are, I speak for myself, I want to share this, losing time now, trying to adhere to a model which is not ours. And I think that the world can't wait anymore, that we women lose time. So I think if some of you are aware of the paradigm of the change of Václavic. Václavic, the philosopher and sociologist, he says this exercise of 9 points, try to put them together, and you spend a lot of time, and then you understand that you should have started from outside. I think that we are in front not of changing the points inside of a system, but change the system. And only women can do it now, I think. I would like to share with you that I found an image we all have watched in TV, every person in the world, last 2 weeks ago, of people coming from the war in Hungary, and this wall they have built, and the soldier saying, go back. Go back where? This is not a point, I think, of being left or right. I think this is shit, excuse me. This is a point of trying to think the world in another way. And I think that we women can contribute really very much to rethink the world. In December, the world will gather in Paris discussing the climate problem. So, of course, I know that a lot of companies cannot change their policy because they say, well, if I change, I would have to dismiss thought and thought people, but I think we have to rethink everything. And I think that we have to find the courage. Helen, yes. At the end of her speech, will say something very important. I completely agree. We have to find the courage to be unpopular. This is what I have to share with you. The most important thing I'm learning in my life. I have been a very good, excellent, wonderful manager in Unilever for many times. Clap, clap, clap. But I became a really effective, I think, useful resource for the world when I started to not to be obedient anymore. And not everybody likes me. And I'm suffering sometimes because I like to be liked. Yeah. It's beautiful to be liked. And everybody saying, well, you are very good, Ms. Zanardo. And now not everybody likes me. But I think that I'm really an important resource for my country. And I am a little bit unpopular. So I really want, being more than 50, I think as Cotard was saying that her grandmother, a little bit older perhaps than me, but when you become old, you don't care being popular. And so I think that really it's important when we start to think to lose certainty and to start a journey. When I go a lot in the schools and girls ask me, yes, but where is the target? What is the plan? I think we have to trust ourselves, being more here, and then the solution perhaps will come. I don't have a solution, but I think it's high time we start this path.
And Helen, you mentioned also sensing, because if we don't plan mentally, let's say, and look for solutions of the past, what can we do? And you mentioned before just a little sentence that I caught about sensing things too. Can that help us when we are going forward into more unknown territories, if you like?
I definitely think sensing can help us. I think everything that is universal can help us. Love is universal, forgiveness is universal, and so is sensing. And I think those who were in my workshop, they heard me say intuition 5 or 10 times, maybe even more. I think intuition is actually the wireless language that connects us all. And I've been in many cultures, and what I've seen and experienced is that if we are true to our intuition, this wireless language, then we are also closer to our core, we are closer to our authentic ways of being in the world, and we are very, very close to sensing what is my calling. What do I feel called to do? In most languages, the term to be called for is actually present. And according to linguistic people, it wouldn't be alive if we didn't live it. So to be called for, I think, is what we actually intuitively more or less are meant to do now, because we are alive when we are sensing. Just think back 20 minutes ago, maybe a little more. That was completely sensing the body intelligence. But we've got so many wonderful intelligences, because they are plural. I think sensing is cardinal, really. Using our intuition, because that is what connects us all. And that is also, according to modern science now, that is what connects animals, flowers. I'm just reading a book about the intelligence of plants. They can communicate. That's also what my next book is about. Now I can just as well say it. And I've been working on it for 30 years. And people say to me, wow, you're courageous. And what I think is, maybe I am. But most of all, what I think I am is that I'm intuitive. And that's the only way I know how to navigate. And it's when I stop doing that I become afraid. And that I am afraid of I'll lack money, and I'll lack support, and I'll lack, and I'll lack. And if I use my intuition, it's not that it's land of plenty, but support will come.
Yeah. It will. And Maggie, the way you're living is very immediate. Meaning like you have to be in the now. And I was thinking like, can you share something with us that are living in a different reality? Using our intuition, can we sense, that something is coming that's also dangerous for us?
Yes, you see, you have a culture that you must plan, for example, 100 years things. But I will tell you my experience in May. For example, I plan that I will open university. I give you this example because last year when I was here, I tell you, I fell because always I repair. They killed parents, I took children. The politician make corruption, no money, then I must take the people, I must give food. And I said, no. Now I will try to go and to meet politicians, how we can have educated politicians. Then in my mind, I said, I will open university and I will teach in this university peace and also leadership. Then I have all the things. We must open on the 1st of May. But on 26th of April, they began, of course, to want to arrest me. Then I must be hide in the embassy, in Belgian embassy. In this moment, I said, no, I must open my university. I must. I called my children, I said, then open this university. Then they said to me, Ma'am, you lose your maternity. We can't open. And then for this moment, I said, why? Why I must I must do things? No. I take time to think and to read the sign of our lives. Sometimes we don't want to read in our life the sign, what we must do for the future. I know that you will see if it's the moment to do something. If you listen your heart, if you read in the eyes of your friend, if you listen your friends, if you see in the world, what happened? Perhaps the way you take is not this way. Then you must change. Don't be s'accrocher of what you have planned. No, listen your heart, listen your brothers and sisters, your family, and take time to enjoy the life. The life is a feast. Don't lose your time in stupid things. Because sometimes, often, you will see, we lose our time in stupid things. Isn't it?
Yes.
And
yeah.
This is a great example of courage, is it not?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't think of a better one.
It is courage. It is courage.
Courage, yeah. But I think as well that the ages have moved. You know, we had the age of information, the age of technology, the age of knowledge. We're moving into the age of wisdom. And wisdom I see as a quality of the higher order. Some would say a quality of the soul. People who don't like the soul, it can still be a quality of the highest self, of the highest order. Wisdom and compassion is what is needed, and it's what is needed in leadership as well. And too often, I think, people work on the horizontal level, where they look at marketing and they look at product segmentation and they look at cultural awareness and all of this here, and completely forget the vertical. And the vertical is the opening of the self to all of their intelligences, which includes the intuition and the wisdom and the compassion. Because once they're connected with that, and once they feel those impulses from there, then those can be expressed in the horizontal. So often I think we're working at the wrong level. We continue to work on the horizontal, and we just forget all about the vertical. We've got that knowledge and wisdom from the ancestors, you know? I mean, depending on whether you believe in reincarnation, we were probably all one of those witches who were burned in the 12th century. And we'd have had many lives since. So we've been there before. We're carrying the wisdom of the ancestors. Often we don't access it. We don't know how to access it. It's part of, however you do it, keeping that vertical channel open and then seeing how it gets manifested. And the intuition, the wisdom and the compassion is part of that. That's what we have to start to concentrate on.
Yeah. Great. I was thinking how many women, and now actually increasingly number of men too, are impacted on media, on how we should look, how we should be, and how many thoughts are somehow wasted because we are thinking about, oh God, my legs are a little bit too big, or my nose is too small, or whatever it is that's going on in a lot of people, which is also a result of the advertisement we have had. And how can we, and sometimes it's sneaking in, you know, it's maybe if you stay away even from magazines, it's in the collective culture. And I think it actually numbs it a little bit. Lorella, you have some experience in the field, please share.
Yeah, I would like to share you some examples, 3 minutes of video of what I'm doing. I have built in schools in my country and not only also abroad now, because it started 6 years ago. I have been living for many years abroad, and then I came back, and my country, but also ever in Europe, are especially sexist in TV and advertising. So I started a media education program in schools that now has become quite big. And I think that Kuthar was right when we were dancing, that we have sexualized everything in Western countries. And this means that we are blocking, how do you say, stopping energy that could be useful for something bigger and better and else. Some countries are worse, but the problem of media and how they represent women is true everywhere. you are aware of a campaign of Dove Unilever, which tried to change the stereotype representation of women. So 3 minutes of video, just because I would like to share with you what we teach in schools. We don't think media or advertising are evil. On the contrary, we teach a system to pass from a passive way of watching TV and advertising like this to in a very proactive way. Well, I see stereotype things, and then I can liberate myself and do what she suggests, which is very important. So I use this metaphor to open the cages. So I will show to you an Italian example. Don't laugh too much, because this happened also in US and in other countries. And you will see that under we have put some indication, not criticize, but some indication in order that students, let's think that you are students, understand things that are not so evident. Il primo video.
Presentiamo i concorrenti, Francesca, di questa puntata. Ormai sei una velletta a tutti gli effetti, basta, non sei più la super ospite.
I concorrenti di questa sera iniziamo con Alessia, che ha 18 anni e arriva da Putignano. È una studentessa, ma è anche una ritrattista.
Bene.
Complimenti.
So here you see it's interesting that we invite students to understand how the camera works.
E poi?
Poi abbiamo Francesco, che ha 27 anni, arriva da Bologna e mi incuriosisce questa cosa perché è un barman. Mi piace molto la macchina per cucire.
Sì. In effetti io ho una grande passione per la moda e ho iniziato anche a cucire, insomma.
Hai esaudito tutte le tue curiosità?
Poi ti chiedono i vestitini.
Cambiamoli i vestitini. E poi
abbiamo la nostra concorrente Francesca, ha 19 anni, arriva dalla provincia di Caserta, in particolare da Santa Maria Capua Vetere. Detto giusto?
Giusto.
Perfetto. Lei è una studentessa e inoltre fa anche l'hostess. Quindi...
possiamo iniziare allora?
Iniziamo subito!
Bene, vai in posizione!
Okay, you see that's very interesting. And think you are 14 and you keep on watching these programs 4 hours a day for 10, 15 years. It changed completely your attitude, because this is called media education, but when you are at home, you watch TV and then you make your homework, you are not so attentive as we are now. So what you get that at home your mother will say, well, she's so nice, but a little bit stupid. No, it's not stupid. It's the camera which represent her in a stupid way. You know, we have only few minutes, but it's so important because I suggest in the next 2 weeks you watch TV, videos, magazines with new eyes and trying to find the hidden stereotypes. And then another horrible stereotype, which happens very much, that 2 men, the presenter asks open questions. Can you tell me about your hobbies? Yes, I like to go on bicycle and tennis. And 2 girls, they ask closed question. Do you like here? Yes. Are you 17? Yes. Even a Nobel Prize, if you ask only closed questions, seems stupid. You understand? So that's so important. This is we do this. We have analyzed and scheduled hundreds of hours of TV and internet, and we go to school everywhere in order to teach the media education. But this happens in some countries, a lot in Italy and in Spain and South America, France a little bit. But it happens everywhere. I have been invited in Australia to give a lecture and see what I've discovered. Yes, the next one. I was at the bus stop, and so I taught to Melbourne University, and they were surprised. But so we analyze, we don't criticize. We have a billboard, a girl. So we teach the children to ask, not to criticize. How old is she? Well, if you look at her face, she can be 14. Wonderful. She has a dog, and the payoff plays on words, no? Introducing your best friend. Allora, the best friend is a dog. No, here is a booster. A booster is someone who makes your teeth bigger. Is a booster the best friend for a 14-year-old girl? Does she need a booster? Perhaps she will have big teeth in 2 years. So they are trying to persuade her that she's wrong. She's not good like this. And so advertising is full of these examples. And why it's so important? Because they put us all in a cage. We invest a lot of time trying to be, okay. Yeah, and all this energy we could spend in doing wonderful things. I finish with 1 minute because it's so important not to depress people and students. No, because when we go in school, especially in Italy, in Spain, some of America, at the end you say, Mamma mia, it's horrible. But we work on a worldwide level now, and we take good examples also, because the important thing that girls are a little bit afraid, because the system of media is very strong, no? And they spend a lot of, if you look at their Facebook profiles, everybody, 14, 15, they are so worrying about how they appear. So is it possible to find also a soft reaction, even if you don't feel a strong feminist? Yes, it is indeed. Next one, yes.
I'm obsessed with what?
With what?
With you, woman.
Tell me and the millions of people watching.
I love you as an actress, and I love you as a fashionista.
I'm married.
Oh.
Never mind.
Look here now.
It wasn't so
look
public,
the camera.
we could,
Why did you shatter my dreams? Okay, you look fabulous. Let's start with the dress. Who are you wearing tonight?
Who am I wearing?
Yes.
Givenchy. I just want to, do you do that to the guys?
Yes.
It's a thing that's just, it just happens. Like, what do you think is going to happen down there that is so fascinating? I'm going to...
Wonderful. Wonderful. You don't imagine how in schools they love these examples, because it's a solution. You don't need to go in the streets and march and say, oh, no. You say, what's there so fascinating under there? No? Wow. So now I'm doing everywhere. When they invite me in television, and they do it always, even if you are 60, 70, 80, they start from here. Say, what are you doing there? So we start to change the world, no? It's interesting. I know that this sounds a small thing compared to what our wonderful Maggie is doing, but I think we have to we must start to liberate the energy of young women in order to address ourselves to bigger projects.
Yeah. And that begins right now. So I have just a last question that maybe I would like just a short statement or something from each and every one of you. So having done WIN for 18 years, had the idea back 19 years ago when I met Geraldine and Helen in Mexico. We see progress, and maybe progress is slow, but certainly a lot of things has happened. So do we still need the WIN conference, or women's conferences in general? Doesn't need to be WIN, but do we still need to support each other, come, gather, inspire? Is that still needed in the world, or not? Maggie, you look like most eager.
Please, I must tell you, it's 10 years. Thank you, Graziella. I changed completely when I came here. Since I came here, I became new. Because I was thinking that I am so stupid. Because everyone in my country said, the crazy woman. And when I came here, I see that I was not so stupid. Because I met so many crazy women like me. Continue to be crazy, and I must congratulate Geraldine, because yesterday I was with the daughter of Geraldine, and I said, I read every morning Bible, and then I said, oh, wonderful. Now, Graziella, Geraldine, Maggie, and we have new. Stand up, our daughters. Stand up. You are there. You are there. The young. Stand up. Stand up. Don't be afraid.
Le figlie.
Why you think that they will continue?
Yeah.
We have progeniture. Don't worry. Don't stop. Win. Because they will continue. And when we will be 90, we will come here and dance. And dance like this. I was not so, I was thinking like a mother, grandmother, because I am a grandmother. This crazy Arabic Tunisian woman. And it changed my mind, because I was not thinking that in a Muslim woman can do like that. Thank you. Then don't worry. Yes, it changed my mind every day. Continue. Win will continue.
Lorella.
I think Kristin really found it. Win is important, because Win is doing things differently. I've never been to any other conference that opens each day with female classical musicians. I've not been to any other conference where women freely give their time to coach other women, where there's a variety of workshops on, where there's such fun. And what I notice most of all is that everybody here knows they can be exactly as they are. And yes, everybody's in a job, most people, and we're being professional, but you can be seen to be who you are. And then you realize that often in our lives, we're not seen to be who we are. This is why Win's important. We need an injection to remember who we are and to be seen for it that will sustain us for the 12 months ahead. So keep on with Win. Kristin, please.
Okay, thanks a lot. You want to comment, Helen or Lorella? Because very short time left, but if it's relevant, yeah.
I just want to say that this might be my 17th or 18th time here. And there's something here which is magical. And apart from what has been said, is this also that we interculturally can mirror each other in being okay, because I think a lot of what is holding us back is this, that we think we are not good enough or that we are not okay. And here we can really get a sense, lasting for the next time when it's on, I am actually okay. And I met some great friends here and they think I'm okay, and maybe I'm okay and not stupid. Maybe I'm actually fantastic and fabulous and awesome. And Geraldine, she sent me some socks saying that I'm awesome. I mean, who would do that? Only crazy women from Win. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, the purpose of WIN are two, the main purpose. One is networking, and I think it's a wonderful venue in order to network, but to network not only with corporate friends, but also to open the doors to the unknown. I remember many, many years ago, I was a young assistant manager in Unilever. I was spending there 12 hours a day with air conditions and lights. And at 8 o'clock at night, I was so tired, and the marketing director was passing in the corridor saying, "Please, you must be creative." And I said, huh? It was 8 o'clock with lights like this, and I said, no creation. And so I understood the possibility to find new ideas, to be outside the system, to find a hint something comes by mixing energies with crazy people, with dancers, with poets, and from there also corporate people can get the idea. So continue.
Yes, yes. Okay, thank you.